Brad, just on the drafting of Davison, what was the thought process in selecting him, and what's the plan?
Yeah, so we'll talk about all the plans and everything else later, but obviously he's a guy that we've seen all year long. Very young, very explosive. That's pretty obvious. Has the ability to get inside the paint and make plays, and has some things that he'll have to improve on, but has a lot of physical tools. A good competitor.
Recording in progress.
And obviously, I think played, in a really good program for really good coaches. And so we're looking forward to getting him up to Boston.
What's up, YouTube? You're Inside the Edge. I'm back with another video, and today we're going to talk about JD Davison. We're going to talk about the Boston Celtics. But with that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. By the end of this video, it would be nice to drop a like, and even let's get into some discussion and drop a comment below. But today we're going to talk about JD Davison. I kind of want to touch up a lot about his game and what he can bring to the Boston Celtics. So with that being said, guys, let's just kind of talk about how things ended for the Celtics. Obviously the Celtics, they had a good run. Seeing what they did against the Nets, and then seeing what they did against the Bucks. A lot of us thought the Bucks would, they were the defending champs, and I thought that the Bucks would have won that series, but the Celtics came victory to that, and then them taking out the Miami Heat, and then they fell short to the Golden State. And just the way things turned out, I think the biggest backlash I think the Celtics has been facing, besides Jason Tatum, besides hearing about Jason Tatum playing poorly, that's another discussion for another day, but the turnovers. That is what shot the Celtics in the foot. That was the component on why the Celtics lost. You can't be a championship team if you're turning the ball over, and I think that's what pretty much hurt this Celtics team throughout this finals. So this is where JD Davison comes into play. So because I question, why did the Celtics drafted him? So it looks like JD Davison, if you guys don't know, so he played for Alabama. He played one season there. This guy is looking like it looks like he's on his way to being an NBA point guard. Because he can be a 1 or a 2, but him being listed at 6'2", and I would think the way that the Celtics, the reason why they drafted him, I would think that they want him to be the number 1 guard for the Celtics. Obviously, looking at what he brings to the table, I'm sure you guys hear a lot about how explosive he is, his quickness, how he can break down defenses by going into the lane, slashing into the lane, penetrating the defense, and just swinging the ball out or feeding it to a big man. And I think with this Celtics team, I think it's a good fit because of how he plays the game. Like I said, Robert Williams, he's a guy that can, be an alley-oop guy. And I could already see the connections between that. But also the Celtics being a three-point shooting team. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, you got White, you got Payton. These are knockdown shooters. And I think with JD Davison, he's just going to add into the mix. I think, the way the Celtics play is they swing the ball a lot, and they will, they like to get players open. And I think with JD Davison being at the three-point key, he's going to be taking a lot of shots. But let's just get into it as far as him being at Alabama, and let's get into it. So he's listed at 6'2", 195 pounds. He played at Alabama. He averaged 8 points. I'm looking at his three-point percentage. He shot 30% from three. Now, even looking at him being a knockdown shooter, which he is, but he his high volume for shots is up there. In college, he took 2.5 threes per game. Even though he didn't play a full season, but he's a high volume shooter for sure. And I think what the Celtics need is a player that can penetrate, break down the defense, and allow a Jason Tatum to be open, allow a Jaylen Brown to have space, whether he's at the elbow or wherever key point he is on the floor, to be open. Because one thing about Marcus Smart is he's a great defender, great player. He makes plays in big moments, but he's not a floor general point guard, and that is the argument. And I think with JD Davison, him being able to slash in the paint, I think it will create space for guys like Tatum to be open, and maybe Tatum doesn't have to have the ball in his hands so much. So, I would say the strength of JD Davison is, the strength I would say is him being a guy that has ball handling skills, that can get to the paint whenever, however he can, and on anybody. He has a good crossover. He has a nice Euro step. He's so unselfish. He's a really good playmaker. And like I said before, I can just see him dishing out passes to Al Horford. I could already see him being in this offense. But just one big key thing I want to say, if I had to say a downhill side to JD Davison, is his turnovers. He did come off the bench. He did average 25 minutes per game, but he had 2.9 turnovers. That's how much he averaged. That's almost 3 turnovers a game, and that's a problem. But that's something that he can clean up. Davison, he's young. He's 19 years of age. But even as far as just the turnovers that were that stat line 2.9, I don't think that has anything to do with his talent. I think that's just more so of his IQ level. Him being aware of him being on the court, him being aware of, how can I make a better pass? Maybe I shouldn't make this bullet pass that are 2 passes away. Maybe I should make 1 pass away. Just things like that. I think he needs to kind of, just be more on the, I guess you could call it like a football player, but watch more film. I just think he needs to watch more film of him playing and seeing how he can be better, how can he control the pace of a game, and things of that nature. But I think with this Celtics unit, I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I think it's going to take him some time to mold himself into this offense, because I do see, Richardson. I see him being a guard as well, and that's why I'm kind of confused a little bit on why they drafted JD Davison. But at the same time, I do feel like the Celtics, they want a guard. They need a guard that can facilitate, a guy that can get players involved, and a guy that can break down the defense and slash and get to the cup and just be like a third option for this team. Because I don't think the Celtics really have that. I don't think the Celtics, Marcus Smart, like I said, he's a good player and he's strong and he's physical and he can get in the post and play bully ball. But with this JD Davison kid, I mean, he has a motor. His quickness is something that the Celtics is going to need. And I think he can create a lot of space for a lot of players on the Celtics team. He's going to make them a whole lot better. But that being said, guys, I don't want to make this video too lengthy, but I want to hear your guys' opinion on JD Davison. But like I said, the plus, the upside to him, the way he can explode to the rim, the way he can facilitate. I think he's a really good passer, and he's really a fancy passer. He did average 4.3 assists when he was in college, so I think he's going to be a tremendous playmaker for this team. But with that being said, guys, I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you think? What do you think Davison's weaknesses and what do you think his strengths are? I want to hear your guys' opinion. So with that being said, guys, just have a good Sunday. Everyone be safe. Take care of yourself and just be safe. The world, there's a lot going on, guys, but be safe. Okay. Until next time, peace.